Welcome everyone, namaste. Welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua, and for a physical practice, you want to have 2 blocks and a strap, and we're going to continue with our core strengthening and exploration of some inversions. Let's start in hero's pose. You may want to take a block and place it between your ankles to sit on as you place your knees in front of you and point your toes back. And if hero's pose, as with any of the postures, are not appropriate for your body, then make sure that you adjust accordingly. Take rest whenever you need. So doing everything at your own pace. So I wanted to share some mindfulness techniques for self-regulation, for resourcing ourselves when the nervous system is dysregulated, such as in the stress response of fear. And these techniques were compiled by mindfulness teacher Tara Brach, whom I've recently been studying with for this particular reason. And so there's 5 different techniques that she shares in this list. The first one is grounding, and it's literally feeling the weight of your body against the surface below, whether you're sitting or standing, and even feeling other body parts weights on top of others, such as the arms resting on the thighs like this. And letting your breath be slow and full as you feel the sense of gravity, this sense of belonging to the earth. A second technique for resourcing is using resource anchors. And these are places where you can rest your attention and help collect and quiet the mind, as well as arouse an increased sense of ease. And they can be used separately or in combination. Some examples of resource anchors are to rest your attention on a part of your body where sensations are neutral or pleasant, like maybe your feet or your hands. Alternatively, you might attend to feeling the whole body sitting or letting your attention focus on sounds and the space in which the sounds are traveling. Another resource anchor is to place your hand or hands gently on your heart, belly, or cheek, or a combination of these, and feel the sensations of warmth and contact. Another resource anchor is to mentally repeat a whispered phrase of reassurance, comfort, or love, like saying to yourself, "It's okay, sweetheart," or "I'm sorry and I love you," or "I'm here with you." You might also repeat a set of phrases like in the loving kindness or metta practice. May I be happy, may I feel peace. And another resource anchor is to visualize something or someone that brings you a sense of comfort, safety, or love. A person whom you trust, or a place in nature where you can feel at home, or a spiritual figure or a deity. You might imagine a loving being embracing you and or filling you with healing lights. So these are resource anchors. Now, third on the list of self-regulating or resourcing yourself when you're feeling stress response like fear is to name out loud the sounds, feelings, and images that are right here in the present moment. Because when we're in that stress response, immediately the tendency is to go up in the mind and out of the body, sort of dissociating from the present moment experience. And so that naming of what's here, such as seeing the trees through the window, or hearing the sound of the radio, or feeling the weight of my body on my seat, and naming these, it just brings us back to the present moment, back to our bodies. Number 4 is to breathe slowly and deeply, matching the length of the in-breath and the out-breath. You might find these techniques pretty familiar because we do quite a few of these already. Approximately breathing in and breathing out 5 to 8 seconds each. If it helps, you can count slowly for each in-breath and out-breath, letting the breath be continuous without a pause between breathing in and out. And then number 5 is to relax parts of your body that feel tense. Bring a gentle attention to the areas that are contracted with the intention to soften, to let the sensations float in awareness. Pay particular attention to areas like the shoulders, the hands, the belly. Also relax your face, including your tongue from the tip right into the root. So here are 5 techniques that you can use that we often use in our yoga practice, and they're mindfulness techniques to resource yourself when you're feeling dysregulated. Now, as we work on postures or movements that might feel more challenging, for some that might be core strengthening like we're going to do today, or going upside down like inversions that we'll practice today, we might use these techniques. So the more we practice them when we're relaxed, like informal practice, the easier they're going to be to access in moments of stress. So we're basically sharpening the tools in our toolbox. Let's begin. So now as you're sitting still, take a moment to check in with what is present in your bodily experience, feeling the sensations. Include your feeling of grounding, that is your weight, the body's weight, on what is holding your body below. And even the weight of other body parts on top of others. Feeling how gravity is drawing you towards Earth's center. And then notice the breath just as it is. Feeling your energy. Notice your mind, where your attention tends to go right now, the quality of your attention. And notice any emotions present in you. And then let the breath in a little slower. You might exhale through the mouth and maybe even sigh it out if that feels soothing. A couple more times of inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the lips. Consciously lengthening your in-breath as slowly as your out-breath. And then you might touch a hand to your chest gently, maybe another hand to your lower belly or to your cheek. And allow a moment to acknowledge something you are experiencing that feels calming to you in this present moment, something that feels grounding and brings you a sense of assuredness. And then whatever your intention is, mentally or out loud, state that to yourself. Maybe a personal prayer for today, for this practice. What you're calling into your experience. Opening our hearts and minds to include those around us. You might choose someone to offer your practice to today, making a dedication. And then let's join our voices, feeling the vibration of sound move through your body as we chant 3 ohms. Inhale. As you continue to slow down the breath, let's close the lips and gently narrow the back of the throat, creating a very soft whisper to the breath that helps to bring easefulness to the mind and body. This is a practice called Ujjayi Pranayama, where you're evenly lengthening in and out breaths, creating a soft whispering sound as an anchor for your attention. So as you listen to that rhythm and see if you can keep it going just as slowly throughout this physical practice, come on down to your back, lying on the ground. And as you're lying on your back, extend your legs straight up, keep your pelvis on the ground, and feel the distance between your lower back and the floor. Can you shorten that distance by drawing in the navel towards your spine without flattening the lower back? Keep its natural curve, but activate the lower belly, the mid belly. And then bring your arms down by your sides really close to you. Point or flex your feet, and as you inhale, lower your right leg slowly forward to hover the heel just about an inch or two off the ground. Exhale, lift the right leg straight up. Keep the belly engaged. Inhale, lower the left heel about an inch or two, keeping the leg straight, generally straight. Exhale, lift the legs slowly. So we're not swinging the legs, we're moving them slow and controlled to the breath. Maybe you try both legs at the same time. Inhale, slowly lower. And if that's too much, you can alternate legs, keep going right leg, left leg to the breath. Inhale to lower. Keep drawing the belly in. The exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. Notice when you're lowering the feet, if the lower back starts to arch away from the floor, keep drawing in the belly, exhale to lift. Couple more cycles of breath. Inhale to lower. When you lift the legs, feel that you're drawing your navel even more strongly towards your spine and up towards your chest, like a zippering in and up. Last breath. Giving that slow, even whispering sound to the breath. And then bend your knees, make a right angle out of your knees, stacking right above your hips. Place your hands on your thighs as if your hands are on your lap. And then begin to press your thighs away from you towards the front of the room with your hands as your thighs resist back against your hands. Keep doing those two actions where your legs don't visibly move, contracting the belly even more strongly as you lengthen the tailbone forward, relax the shoulders down, and maybe add breath of fire where you close the lips, bounce the belly towards the spine with short, quick, active exhales like this. We're here for about 30 more seconds, breath of fire or slow, deep breaths. Keep pressing the thighs with the hands. Keep pressing back into the hands with the thighs. Take a slow breath in. Hold the breath at the top as you draw your navel towards the spine. Lift the pelvic floor. Close chin to chest. Think of drawing the energy from your root chakra, base of the spine, up the spine through the 7 chakras to your crown. When you can't hold the breath in anymore, exhale through the mouth and stretch the legs to rest on the floor. Raise your arms overhead. Come back to slow, deep Ujjayi breaths through the nose. Draw your bent knees together and start to rock forward and back, building momentum. Eventually making your way to hands and knees. From all fours, beginning to move into cat-cow with a breath pace. Inhale as you glide your chest forward and coil it up. Exhale as you lift the navel, drop the head to round your back. About 3 to 4 more cycles of breath. Betalasana, cat-cow pose. At the end of your next exhalation, wrap your triceps towards the rear wall, tuck your toes, and lift your hips back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Spend a few breaths if you need to move your body anyway. Pedaling the feet, shaking or nodding your head. Keep rolling your triceps towards the ground, protracting the shoulder blades apart, and lifting the shoulder blades away from the neck. Stabilize them onto your back ribs as you relax the neck. Feel the belly engaged here, just like you did when you were lying down in those leg lifts. Firm the front tops of your thighs back and sink your heels down towards the earth. Now cultivate stillness, tuning in to 3 deep breaths. When you've emptied the 3rd breath, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat in a standing forward fold. Uttanasana, press down on your legs, blocks or the floor, and inhale, lengthen your spine forward to Ardha Uttanasana, firming in the belly. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Keep the belly engaged as you inhale, rise, sweeping your arms overhead and coiling your chest up. Exhale, join your hands in prayer from crown to heart center. Let's begin Sun Salutation C. Inhale, sweep your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow from your hips in Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step your left knee behind you into a kneeling lunge, gaze up. As you hold your breath, step into plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward into Cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, hips back, downward facing duck. Inhale, step left foot beside left thumb, lower your right knee, look up. Exhale, step right foot forward and bow. Inhale, root to rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Once more, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips. Inhale, step your right knee back. Look up. Hold your breath as you step to plank. Exhale, Ashtangasana, lower knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, Cobra, slither forward, grounding the tops of your feet. Exhale, Downward Dog. Inhale, step right foot beside right thumb, lower left knee, gaze up. Exhale, step left foot forward and bow. Inhale, rise, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, hands to heart, Padasana. Sun Salutation A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Press your fingertips on the floor, blocks your legs. Inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana. Step into plank pose and pause here. Let's pause for a few breaths. Lift the sides of the belly. Lengthen the neck as you gaze on the ground just ahead of your thumbs. Wrap your triceps towards the rear wall. Firm your inner heels back. Keep a long line through your center line. As you exhale, glide forward. Come high on the tiptoes. Bending your elbows to 90 degrees, hug your side ribs. Pause in Chaturanga Dandasana. Then either lower for Cobra or flip the toes here and draw the shoulder heads back for Upward Facing Dog. Exhale, Downward Facing Dog. Pausing for 3 slow breaths. Sense the evenness of the in and out breath, helping to regulate your nervous system. When you've emptied the 3rd, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's flow through Surya Namaskar A this time. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank or lightly jump into Chaturanga Dandasana. Take it through your Vinyasa at your pace of breath. Pausing for 3 breaths in downward dog as you steady your gaze, your drishti. Sense the energy of different parts of your body here, like your mouth, your shoulders, your eyes, relaxing the areas that don't need to be contracted. When you're ready, walk or float to the top. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Padasana. Moving on to Sun Salutation B, bring the inner edges of your big toes to touch. Inhale, bend your knees together to touch. Sit back towards your heels as you raise your arms up. Hug your front ribs in. Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Step or float into your Vinyasa. This time from downward dog, inhale, raise your right leg from the inseam, squaring your hips. Exhale, softly step the foot beside your right thumb and spin your left heel down. Inhale, rise fully into Warrior One. Ride the exhale into Chaturanga Dandasana, finishing your Vinyasa. From downward, keep the hips leveled. Inhale, raise the left leg back. Exhale, step the foot softly beside left thumb, spin right heel down. Inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, flow into your Vinyasa. Once again, finding stillness in downward dog for 3 deep breaths. Coming back to slowing down and balancing in and out. Releasing areas in the body that don't need to contract. Like the back of the skull, the back of the neck. When you're ready, walk or float to the front of your mat. With feet touching, inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. With knees touching, inhale, chair, Utkatasana. Exhale to rise up. Now bring your hands to your hips and keeping your 2 hips balanced in height, as you can feel them right now. Draw in your navel and lift it up towards the heart. Press down firmly through your toes spread and your inner and outer heels. Steady your gaze as you bend the left knee in front of you, flexing the foot. Keep balancing your hips. Keep activating the belly. Check in with the breath. Keeping your hips balanced, start to tilt the torso forward, extending the left leg parallel to the ground behind you, Warrior 3. You could bend your right knee if your hamstring feels resistant. Keep squaring the hips, lift the sides of the belly like plank, and lengthen your neck. You might open the arms, you might extend them overhead for 2 more breaths. Then step the ball of your left foot back into crescent lunge. Draw the tailbone down, square your hips to face the front, slightly lifting your frontal hip bones. Mentally scan your body as we stay here for a few more breaths. Observe what parts feel strong and grounded. Feel the energy of your legs as if you're dragging the feet towards each other. Pelvic floor lifting. Then you might grab a strap here as you bring the arms into cow face pose. Stepping the left foot forward, another 5 to 6 inches shorter stance. Dropping the heels, straightening both legs. So with a strap in your left hand, if you're using one, raise your left arm up high, dangle the tail of the strap behind your back. Rotate your left tricep forward and bring the elbow behind your skull. Reach your right hand behind you underneath, catch the other end of the strap, and then walk your hands as close together as you can. You might clasp the hands and let go of the strap if your hands reach. Now draw the shoulders down, seal in the bottom of your front ribs, activate your belly, and inhale, roll your shoulders back. For about 5 breaths in total, take your time hinging forward from your hips, cultivating a long spine, squared hips, flexing the front muscles of your thighs without locking the knees. Pyramid pose, Parsvattanasana. Now take the strap while you're down here, then bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, rise up to stand. Let's re-enter that starting position of bending left knee in front, finding your balance in a one-legged mountain pose. Flex your left foot, draw the navel in and up. Moving into hand to big toe pose, you might use the strap, stepping the ball of your left foot into it, and bringing the left arm on the inside of your left leg to hold the strap with the left hand. Keep sending the left hip down as low as the right hip as you kick your left foot forward. Shoulders relaxed. Now, if you can clasp the left big toe with your peace fingers, then you can let go of the strap. Raise the right arm up, navel towards spine, press into the floor with the 3 main corners of the bottom of your right foot. How's the breath? Uttita Hasta Parangushtasana. One more breath. And then gently step the left foot down. Join your hands at your heart. Couple of breaths in mountain pose. So keeping this practice of squaring the hips forward, bring your hands to your hips and bend the right knee in front of you as you flex the foot. Stand tall, draw your navel in and up. Then slowly tilt your torso forward, straighten the right leg behind you with the option of bending the left knee. Keep turning the hips evenly to face the ground. Lift the sides of your belly like plank pose. Get long through the center line of your body. You might open the arms, you might raise them overhead for 2 more breaths in Warrior 3. Softly step the ball of your right foot back into crescent lunge. Continue to square the hips forward as you draw the tailbone down and slightly lift your frontal hip bones. With your shoulders relaxed and your eyes steady, now this time I invite you to scan your body for areas of contraction. While some parts of the body are useful to contract here, such as your navel, your quadriceps, other areas are not useful, like around the forehead and eyes, the tongue, the neck. If you'll use the strap for cow face arms, take the strap as you step right foot 5 to 6 inches forward, shorter stance for pyramid pose. Ground both heels, straighten both legs. Raise your right arm. If a strap, dangle it behind you. Rotate your right tricep forward, bring the elbow behind your head, and then reach the left hand behind you underneath to catch the other end of the strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can, and if they meet, you can let go of the strap and clasp the hands. Keep your legs and belly active. Inhale, lift your chest. Little by little, for about 5 breaths, hinge from your hips slowly in pyramid pose. Parsvattanasana.
And then once again, you might take the strap for hand to big toe pose while you're down here. Bring your hands to your hips and inhale, rise up.
As you shift your weight into your left foot, bend the right knee in front like how we started and flex the foot. Draw the right hip down. Draw the navel in. Either use the strap around the ball of your right foot, holding the strap in your right hand, right arm inside the right leg. Or if you can reach, while still keeping the spine upright, clasp the big toe with your right peace fingers. Kick your right leg forward as you pull it towards you, keeping the right shoulder in its socket. Stand tall, pressing down through the left foot. Raise your left arm up, and let's allow a few more balanced, slow breaths in hand to big toe pose. Uttita Hasta Parangusthasana. Imagine growing taller and taller with each breath. And then step right foot to meet the left. Join your hands. Couple of slow breaths. Check in here. What do you feel? What do you sense? Bend your knees together. Inhale into chair pose. Let's add a twist. Join your hands together at your heart. Keep your knees each equidistant to the front edge of your mat as you begin to twist to the right across your waistline, breath by breath. You might hook the left elbow outside your right thigh, tacking the left hip towards your rear wall. Draw the shoulders down the back as you broaden your chest. Last 2 breaths in Parita Utkatasana, twisting chair. Sink your hips a little lower. Inhale, back to center in Utkatasana. Exhale, mountain pose. Full breath. Bend your knees again. Inhale, Utkatasana. Join your hands to your left. Exhale, Parita Utkatasana. Breath by breath. Peek at your knees. Make sure they're both equidistant to the front edge of the mat, knowing you're not twisting at the pelvis, but rather twisting at your waist. Sense the quality of the breath. 2 more deep breaths. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, rise up. Inhale, chair pose. This time, exhale, slowly lower to sit. Catching the backs of your knees, preparing for Navasana, boat pose. So sitting tall here, shoulders relaxed. Imagine lifting your pelvic floor as you draw your navel in and up. Kick your legs into your hands as you pull your legs towards you, lifting your feet flexed or pointed. Now you can have your knees bent or legs straight, holding the legs or arms free. Stay here, or let's move in and out of half boat, 5 rounds. Inhale, boat. Exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale, half boat. Exhale, rise to boat. Inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, exhale, lift. 3 more rounds. Inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, exhale, rise. Inhale, exhale, Ardha Navasana. Inhale, exhale, Navasana. Last round. Inhale, exhale, lower. Inhale, exhale, rise. Lengthen the spine, deep breath. And then exhale, cross the shins or slide them to one side. Optional to take a vinyasa or cat-cow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Re-steadying the breath. And then bring your knees to the ground. Let's give the shoulders a stretch here, especially
the lats and then also the triceps, the outer upper arms. Place your blocks on their second level height, wide across the top of your mat, touching each other like this. Extend your arms forward. Start with the palms face down and then spin your triceps towards the ground to spread the shoulder blades apart and move them down the back. Press the shoulders down. Keep doing those two actions and bend your elbows, placing them exactly your shoulders distance apart on the blocks. Press your fingertips into each other, and with your knees about 2 inches behind your hips, trace your thumbs down the back of your skull, back of your neck, towards between the shoulder blades, letting the head sink, letting the chest broaden towards the floor, while lifting the navel still towards the spine like you've been actively engaging the abdomen. Draw your hips back, tune into about 4 or so more breaths. Make sure the elbows don't splay, wider than shoulder distance. Then engage the belly more strongly to rise up and off the blocks. Set the blocks aside. And let's prepare to practice dolphin pose. Playing with our inversions here. So start arms forward again, wrap the triceps down, bend your elbows, and either palms face down on the floor with forearms parallel, or interlace the fingers and press outer wrists on the ground. Make sure the elbows stay shoulders distance. Now establish a groundedness of your elbows, forearms, and palms or outer wrists. Press the ground away and lift energy up. Create more lift by rooting down. It's that same principle of rooting down to rise up. Tuck your toes behind you. Relax the neck without bearing any weight on your head. Just let the head fall. Deep breath in. As you firm in the belly, exhale, lift the pelvis and press your hips back. Press the chest towards your shins. You're in dolphin pose. If possible, walk your feet forward closer to your elbows, whatever degree you can, and continue to press the chest back so your shoulders stay slightly behind your elbows rather than rolling in front of the elbows. Use the forearms to press down and lift the shoulders up. Create as much space in your neck as possible. As you firm in the belly, press the fronts of your thigh bones back, heels rooting downward. After a total of about 5 breaths, your count, then lower your knees to the ground, keep your head low, and we'll meet in child's pose to rest. Placing your arms wherever it's relaxing for you, tune into 3 deep breaths. And now you might continue a second round. We're practicing 3 total rounds of inversion of dolphin pose. And here's an option to add if you're feeling pretty stable in dolphin pose. And that's bringing your feet together to touch, coming high up on the toes and rocking your weight forward to play with stacking your shoulders right on top of your elbows without bringing the shoulders in front of the elbows. And as you stack, play with stacking the pelvis right above the shoulders too. Maybe start to lift one leg as you're high on the toes with that lifted leg solidly straight and the hips squared, hugging the midline, flexing the lifted foot. And then after a few breaths, switching legs. And then coming down to rest in child's pose. So take round 2 with the option to play with these add-ons. About 5 or so breaths. Be aware if the elbows start to splay wider than your shoulders distance. And come down to your knees and readjust, because that is really helpful to keep your shoulders safe and stable in their sockets.
Having rested for at least 3 breaths after your second try, you might continue one last dolphin pose, or if you are free of neck issues and want to practice moving through the stages of entering Shirshasana, supported headstand, it's really similar to dolphin pose. You'll want to create the triangular base version out of your forearms and find the very top of your head to place on the ground so that you maintain the most space and natural length on all the sides of the neck. The back of the skull will be supported lightly by the inner webbing of your palms like this. And then as you tuck your toes, you'll walk them forward without kicking the leg, lifting one straight solid leg up and bending the opposite knee towards your belly, contracting the belly like we've been practicing, and hugging the midline with your legs, squaring the hips. So not swinging the leg out of momentum, but using nice and controlled action, steadied breath, steadied gaze. Just take your last inversion of choice, 5 or more breaths. And once again, we'll meet in child's pose, Balasana. Noticing any of those mindfulness techniques we talked about at the start that you might be using if fear or other sort of stress response starts to arise in the mind. Ujjayi breath, relaxing what doesn't need to contract, and feeling your belonging to the earth, literally. Physical connection to the surface below. And make sure you rest at least 3 slow breaths in child's pose. And when you have, carefully roll your spine upright, and let's come back to hero's pose. At this point, you might feel more open to sit directly on your calves or on the ground between your ankles. If not, you can place a block between your ankles. We're going to go further into supine hero's pose, opening up the fronts of the thighs and hips. So continue to seal in your bottom front ribs and place your hands beside you or behind you as you start to lean your torso back slowly. Deep breaths. The further back you lean the torso, think of drawing your tailbone downward and forward, maintaining the length in your lower spine. You might lower onto blocks, onto your forearms, or onto the ground flat, maybe raising the arms overhead, holding opposite elbows. Let's stay for about 10 breaths. Supta Virasana. Keep your knees no wider than hips width apart and grounded. Give yourself several breaths to lift your torso slowly upright. And when you have, extend your legs forward, sitting at the center of your mat. You might circle out your feet, shake out your legs. Let's prepare for our last few back bends, beginning in bridge pose. If you'd like to add some lower back stability support, you can place a block by the skinniest width between your knees and thighs, hugging it firmly. Setting your feet on the ground parallel to each other, as wide apart as your knees are. Bring your arms down by your sides and locate your feet with your hands. Slide your heels back until you could almost touch them with your fingertips, but not quite. Press down evenly through inner and outer feet as you hug the block,
And ground your shoulders, tilt your chin back. Prepare to lift your hips and stay in bridge for your count of 5 or more breaths. When you're ready, tilt your tailbone up towards the block and lift the pelvis. Stretch the fronts of your thighs forward, and without moving your feet, isometrically drag your heels back. Slide the upper arms closer together under your back ribs. With your arms straight, if your hands touch, you might interlace the fingers. Let the breath expand the chest and collarbones. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. As you're hugging the block, spin your inner thighs slightly towards the ground while lengthening your tailbone towards the space between your knees. When you're ready to come down, use a slow exhalation to carefully lower upper back, middle back, and pelvis last. Rest for 3 breaths and notice how you feel. Two more back bends. Consider bridge pose again, or remove the block if you're using it and roll onto your stomach for bow pose, where we'll catch the feet behind us. For bow, lie face down and slide your knees close together. Then bend your knees and reach back with your hands to catch hold of your inner or outer feet or ankles. Press your pubic bone into the ground. As you kick your feet into your hands, pull them towards you, lifting your knees no wider apart than hips distance. Draw the shoulder heads back and lengthen the back of your neck. 5 or more breaths. Dhanurasana. Whether you're on your back or your belly, when you're finished, be still for 3 breaths, resting your body. For your third, your last back bend, choose any of the first 2 options, or if you normally practice upward facing bow and feel warm enough to practice that, take it on your own. With or without a block between the thighs, keep your feet parallel, your thighs parallel, and your arms parallel. Elbows no wider than shoulders width apart. Urdhva Dhanurasana. Take your last back bend for 5 or more breaths. Let's meet lying on our backs. Dropping the knees apart, soles of the feet together, and maybe resting a hand to the chest, or a hand to the chest and a hand to the belly for 3 breaths. Slowing down and balancing in and out breaths. You might count to 5 as you inhale, 5 as you exhale. Then bring your hands to your outer thighs and wrap your right leg as much as you can over your left leg, preparing for a supine spinal twist. Slide your pelvis about 3 to 5 inches towards the right edge of your mat. Slide your right arm wide and ground that shoulder, maybe gazing past it. Lift your feet, then begin to drop your knees to your left side slowly for about 5 breaths. If you're needing a little more lower back release, place your left palm onto your right outer hip. And as you exhale, gently press your right outer hip towards the front edge of your mat. As you empty the next breath, unwind to your back and your pelvis towards the midline of the mat, uncrossing your legs. Wrap the left leg over the right, and then slide your pelvis 3 to 5 inches towards the left edge of your mat. Open your left arm wide, grounding the shoulder, maybe gaze past it. Then lift your feet and start to drop your knees to your right side. You might place the right palm on your left outer hip, breathing out as you press the left hip away from you. And then rolling onto your back, step your feet apart, hips distance, parallel. And now let's add a hip opener. We didn't do quite that much of external rotation in the thighs. So turn out the right thigh, flex the right foot, and cross the ankle over the left thigh like a figure 4 shape. You might keep the left foot on the ground and use the right hand to gently press open your inner right thigh with your hand close to the hip crease. Or you could opt to thread the right hand between your thighs and hold your left thigh or shin with 2 hands, bringing the left leg towards you, splaying the right thigh open. Now, if your right calf is only about 5 inches or less close to your chest, you might cradle the sole of your right foot and your right knee between the crooks of your elbows like you're carrying a baby. Keep flexing the right foot to stabilize the right knee. Supine pigeon pose, where you straighten the left leg forward onto the ground. Let's take another 4 deep breaths in whichever version you chose for yourself. Use your right hand to catch your outer right foot. Like happy babies, splay the right thigh open to the right side of your rib cage. Ground the left leg straight, maybe pressing the top of the thigh with the left hand. Couple last long exhales, maybe lion's breaths. We open the mouth wide as you exhale a sound out. Sticking out the tongue. Step your feet on the floor. And let's take the second side. Turn out the left thigh. Flex the left foot as you cross ankle over right thigh. Stay here, pressing the left hand against your inner left thigh. Or thread your left hand between your legs, catching the right leg with both hands. Splaying the left thigh open. Or if the left calf is close enough, you might cradle the foot and knee between the crooks of your elbows and straighten the right leg on the ground. Supine single pigeon pose. Keep flexing your left foot. Tune into about 4 more slow breaths. And then you might catch the left outer foot with the left hand, splaying your left thigh to the outside of your left ribs. Right leg straight on the floor as you press the top of your right thigh down with the right hand. Couple more clearing exhales. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Draw your bent knees together into your chest, maybe rocking in any direction to massage your lower back. Then find a comfortable resting position to lie down in for corpse pose, where we'll practice a few cycles of box breathing to help us relax more deeply. Closing the eyes, continue breathing with the lips closed. We'll inhale for a count of 4, hold the breath a count of 4, exhale a count of 4, and hold the breath a count of 4. That's 1 cycle.
Let's practice 2 cycles of box breathing together, and then continue for 3 cycles on your own before Shavasana. Empty this breath to prepare. Then inhale slowly for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Second cycle, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue for 3 more cycles. Taking your time, when you finish, let go of controlling the breath. Resting fully in stillness for a few minutes of Shavasana. Continue to rest a little longer here. And with your eyes still closed, notice how your body feels in response to your practice. Take your time beginning to wake up your body. Start with small movements like wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. And then gradually turn over onto your right side, resting your head. Pause a few moments to observe the breath. And sense how your energy has been affected by your practice. As you feel ready, slowly lift your body up, finding a comfortable way to sit for our 5 minutes in meditation. Grounded, aware, and present. You might place your hands in a mudra such as turning the palms face up, stacked on the center of your lap, thumb tips touching. A gesture that cultivates evenness of mind. And with a tall spine and relaxed body, close your eyes or steady a soft gaze ahead. Let the breath flow naturally. You might allow the sensations of the breath to be your anchor, your point of focus. As you're sitting alertly, inviting a spacious torso. Like earlier, sense the parts of your body that you know you may tend to contract when you're focusing. For example, consciously relax your tongue from the base to the tip. Soften your belly. And on your own, sense any areas in your body you can continue to intentionally relax. Sensing the breath in the foreground. Bringing another resourcing technique into practice, I now invite you to picture someone, a person, an animal, a spiritual being, a deity that you feel cares about you or gives you a sense of calm or peace. Visualize them offering you a warm embrace or surrounding you with the light of loving kindness. And once again, sensing the breath, release yourself from any doing and sense your natural presence. You might gently touch your heart center as you recognize what you're feeling now, mentally and emotionally. As we bring closure to our practice, you might acknowledge something that you appreciate. And then call to mind your intention you set at the start. Remember to whom you dedicated today's practice. And let's join our voices, feeling the vibrational sound of Om that we give and receive together 3 times. Deep breath in. Bowing in, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.